All right.
Welcome, everybody. We're super excited to have all of you here in the interactive multimedia track. And a lot of you might not know who I am. So I'm Dr. Laura Huizinga, and I teach in the interactive multimedia track in some of the advanced interactive multimedia track courses. And I think most of you have had Rusty for GD50. And if
Yep.
not, have her for GD50. Um, so hopefully you at least all know Rusty. Um, but let's go ahead, jump into, I've got some slides just to kind of walk through the information about the track. I'm switching it to slideshow once it loads. Can everyone see that all right? All right, cool. So we'll talk about classes for fall 2023 so that you're all ready to register. Make sure that you guys have the permission numbers that you need. And we'll just do a short summary of all the track classes. And then a reminder that most of you are probably already set up with the BFA graphic design major, but just double check your DPR. If for any chance you don't actually have that listed as your major, you'll have to fill out a major change form. And there's a link to that form in these slides. So for the fall, if you've completed GD50, you'll go ahead and take GD150 with Rusty, and you'll take GD157 with me. So GD150 is a continuation on working with HTML, CSS, a little bit of JavaScript. And then GD157 is motion graphics. We predominantly work with After Effects. And at the end of the semester, the last project, we work with web animation as well. So you will use some of those coding skills from GD50. And then it's a good idea to also take GD135 if you can fit that in your schedule as well. That is the graphic design history course. So try and take that. If you haven't taken GD50 yet, then that's the first class that you want to make sure you get is GD50, and you'll still take the motion graphics class. You'll just follow up with the GD150 the following fall. So it won't, other than shifting that one class, it doesn't change the schedule at all. Okay. Oops, let me go back a second. Rusty, was there anything you wanted to say about GD150 at all, or?
Nope. Nope. That covers it.
Okay. All right, permission numbers. So I just sent out permission numbers for GD157. Let me know if you have any issues with that. And then Rusty will be sending you numbers for GD150. But if you go to register and you type in your number and it's not working for some reason, just email us and we'll get you a different one. You have a spot in those classes, you're guaranteed a spot. So, don't freak out. No one's going to take your spot, I promise. We'll make sure that you're in there. For some reason, that permission number doesn't work. Okay. So this is just the breakdown of the upper division. You can see in that fall semester, you have that GD150, GD157, and GD135. There's room to take some general ed classes. If you're completely done with your general ed classes, then you can add in a different studio course if you want. You could add in another art history course if you want. I would strongly recommend not adding in two studio courses though, because the advanced courses, you are going to have a lot of work in those courses, especially as you move up into the upper division. So having 3 studio courses, totally doable. But it's, a lot of class time and a lot of just creative output, right? And then the graphic design history course, while it is a history course, there is an activity element as well. So you will be making some content in addition to learning about graphic design history and kind of the standard, reading and tests that happen with art history type courses. So consider that when you're picking your gen eds or additional studio courses. In the spring, you'll try and take Art History 132 or Art History 136. If either one of those are not available, you can take different art history classes that we can substitute if we need. Oh, and I just realized there's a question in the chat. Thank you, Christopher. The permission numbers are for the classes. When you go to register, you'll have to use that permission number to actually register for the classes. The upper division classes, everyone has to use a permission number because we have to control who's registering for them, because we want to make sure that everyone in the track gets registered first before we add other students who want to take the classes. And so that being said, if let's say there is an extra class that you want to take instead of a gen ed that's in like the illustration track or the graphic design track, you'll contact that professor for those permission numbers if you want to take an additional studio course. Okay, and then for that spring semester, after you take the art history course, you'll sign up for the GD 153 data and design, which Rusty teaches. And then I teach the GD 155 interaction design. In data and design, you get to really work with some like object-oriented programming. And Rusty, you guys use the processing and P5, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's object-oriented programming, but it's very friendly for creatives. So it's a easier syntax to learn. It's more friendly. So you can work with that to create different data and design, as well as kind of like some game design and things. And then in GD 155, the interaction design, we learn about user experience and user interface principles and methods for usability studies. And we focus on designing different ways of interacting, right? And so different interface type designs. And it can range from interface design for smartphones to wearables, augmented reality, virtual reality, utilizing the Internet of Things. So there's a wide breadth that we design for there. And so I think it's a super interesting class. But of course I would, because I teach it. So, and you'll see that you have general ed slots available each semester. So you can space out your general eds. Again, if you are done or almost done, then you can substitute in different studio classes if you'd like. The last year, your 7th semester in the fall, you'll take GD 158 Design Practicum. And this is with Rusty. It's really exciting because you get to work with real life clients. It's also, you get to work with real life clients. So, it's a lot of fun, and you really get to experience what it's like to work with someone out in the community and how to communicate and navigate that process. And then GD 159 is with me, And immersive design, we focus on both augmented and virtual reality. The first half of the class is focused on augmented reality, and the second half is virtual reality. So you get to both design as well as actually implement things in both augmented and virtual reality. And then your last semester is the professional practices class, which prepares you to get ready to go out into the industry. You build your resume, your personal brand, business cards, your promotional materials, all of that. And you learn about, talk about like taxes and if you're doing freelance, how to work and talk to clients, how to set up contracts. All of that important stuff to really get you started is covered. And then GD 180, that is graphic portfolio development. And that's where you design and develop your portfolio and then prepare your final BFA show. 179 is taught by a professional who works locally here in Fresno doing user experience design and development and web design. And then GD 180, our section for interaction is taught by me. And then each other track has a different instructor for their section, but you're all together. So you're technically all in like one class, even though it's 3 separate classes with all of the students. So you get to interact with everyone as you prepare for your show. So that's kind of the breakdown of the classes. And then does anyone have any questions on that kind of outline there?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Is there any like, 'cause I'm fairly certain by the end of the semester I'll have my general ed done. Is there like recommended studio classes, or is it kind of like just free for all? Can we just kind of pick whatever GD class we want?
It really is a free-for-all. There isn't necessarily a recommended class because it depends on what your interests are. You will have to pay attention though to if there's any prereqs. For instance, you couldn't take one of the advanced illustration classes, like advanced digital illustration, if you hadn't taken the digital illustration class first, right? So other than that, you can kind of take whatever you want as long as you're following the prereqs and talking to the professors. For instance, there might be in like the graphic design track, there might be a class that has a prereq in the upper division that you might still be able to take if you're in a different track without that prereq, but you have to just talk to the professor. And same with illustration, unless it's one, because they have several that it's like, 1 and then 2. So you can't take 2 before 1. Other than that, though, it's really dependent on what your interests are. And you can, like, if you're working on a different studio class, let's say I think I talked about this with you before, Christopher, like the packaging class. If you were taking that at the same time as the immersive design class, we could work to incorporate some projects that kind of work together as well. Or if you took packaging, in this next year, and then you took immersive design and you wanted to work with using augmented reality tied into packaging, we could still kind of bring that together in your projects. So it's important for everyone in this track that you really think about where your interests are and what maybe your career goals are, because you want to bring that into your classes, and we can help tweak or guide different projects to fit what you're interested in. The projects always have kind of their own structure, but within that structure, we can make sure that it's leaning towards your interests. And that way we can have some of that flexibility, because especially with this track, there's lots of different directions people can go from this track as a career. And so it's okay to shift in those projects a little bit to make sure it's fitting your needs.
And Laura, would it be advantageous for them to take 142 or would that be repetitive?
Oh yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Yes, there's another class that I teach called GD 142, and it's user experience and user interface design. And we cover, in theory, we cover the same content as GD 155, but the projects are completely different. So GD 155 is made for the interaction track, and there is a heavier aspect of doing research and creating your own project structure that you want to follow. Whereas GD 142, it's all about prototyping. There's no development aspect because it was created for the illustration and graphic design tracks to expose them more to some of the digital design without a lean towards the development. And the projects, we start with a smartwatch app, then we do icons, and then we do a phone app, and then a website redesign. So it's all very kind of your standard interface design. And so it's totally a great idea to take that class if you have extra availability, because it really builds off of the 155 as well. We focus on the same sort of user experience design methodology, but like I said, the projects are completely different. So, oh yeah, and someone says that they haven't taken like GD 60 yet. Totally normal. That happens all the time. Go ahead and try and take it in the fall. And if you can't take it in the fall, try the spring. But try and get that taken care of this coming year so you don't have to worry about it. Let's see. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so just briefly, interactive multimedia. What we want to do with interactive multimedia is to really leverage the technology for human-centered design. So some of the areas that we cover in the classes, we have a strong focus on human-centered design, user experience design, motion graphics, designing for AR, VR, XR. That's augmented reality, virtual reality, and extended reality, which is the umbrella term for both of those, and everything in between. Designing for the web, using basic front-end coding, processing in P5, which is the object-oriented coding language for creatives that we utilize, and then really getting you ready and prepared to go off into the industry and start your own careers. So, leveraging the professional practices class, your practicum class where you get to interact with clients, and then preparing your final portfolio and getting ready to apply for jobs. So that is, kind of what we focus on in the track. If you need a major change, there was a slide there for that. There it is. If you need a major change, there is a link to the form. That's the right time. And then this next slide here is if you're interested in helping with the BFA 2023 show, I have a form for people to sign up, but I'd like to have a couple of students help take photos during the reception. And I've got some GoPros. One has like a little gimbal, and so we can just kind of walk through the gallery sporadically through the evening, and then we can put it all together into kind of a sped up time lapse of everything that happens. And then I've got several VR headsets that I'm going to have set up so that guests can look at the virtual gallery while they're also visiting the physical gallery. And I just need a couple people to watch those and help if someone gets stuck. Every once in a while, someone gets stuck in a wall and they're not sure how to get out. So got to help them. But if you're interested and available, let me know. And if you can't help, but you still want to go to the show, that's fine too. Please do come. It'll be open the whole week after spring break. So you can go check it out. And then the reception's on the 14th. There's usually a lot of people at the reception. So try and check out the show before you go to the reception, just because it gets so crazy in there. But it's really fun to look at what the graduating seniors have done and to help you start thinking about what you might like to do in the future. Okay. Now the last slide. Any questions? When you start signing up for classes? That is a great question. Rusty, do you know when registration starts?
Let me check. I'll check right now.
I almost looked it up before the meeting and I forgot.
I feel like I got an email for it. It's like coming up pretty soon, like or like first week of April, I think. Is it maybe the 6th? I could be wrong though.
Right.
It's definitely not yet because we planned this meeting based on fall
Good.
registration begins April 10th.
Okay. So
So
right when
that's
you get back from
the
spring
week.
break.
Yeah, exactly.
So as you start signing up, like I said, if you have any issues with the permission numbers, just reach out to us and we'll get you an updated one. Any other questions?
And I will send out the permission numbers for 150 this afternoon.
Okay, if no one else has questions, then we'll go ahead and wrap up. But do email us if anything comes up or you think of something later. And let me know if you're available and interested in volunteering for the Seniors BFA show this year. It's a great way to get involved and see what they've all done. All right, well, thank you all so much for coming.
Also,
Okay.
we should mention that now that you're in the interactive track, if you don't have Laura or I as your advisor now is myself or Laura. You can come to either of us for advising.
Right.
Okay, I wanted to ask about that. On my portal, it still shows, well, I'm in the EOP program. Does that still go on, or is that like done with now that I'm in the graphic design track, or I guess what I'm asking is, do I have to do anything official to like change it?
I don't know what EOP is. Does your DPR list you as a BFA major?
Oh, I haven't looked into that yet. I should, yeah, I haven't actually checked the report yet, so I'll do that.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Do you, Laura?
No. So yeah, if your major is something other than graphic design BFA, then we need to change your major.
Oh no, I think my major is fine. EOP is like I don't know, I get like a early access registration and stuff. It's kind of like a support program or whatever. And I kind of have to do like specific meetings with that counselor throughout the semester.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully
got
that
it.
will continue for you.
That's what I'm. All right. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, but you're also guaranteed all the spots in the track classes. So you at least don't have to worry about that. But I would think you would have early access to other classes. Okay.
One more, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm a little confused on the permission codes. So do I register for the classes like normal and then
Yes.
contact my teacher for the permission code after I register?
So, well, you start to register like normal, and then it won't let you actually register until you put that code in.
Oh, okay.
You'll have to have the code first.
Got it. Okay.
So as soon as you have the code, then you can register. And like the art history classes, the graphic design history classes, you don't need a code for those. It's just the upper division track classes that you need that permission number for.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. Anything else? Okay. Rusty, was there anything else that you wanted to go over?
No, I think you covered everything.
All right, awesome. Well, I will talk to you guys all soon. Let me know if you have any questions or if you need advising. Feel free to, talk to Rusty after class if you still have class with her, or send either of us an email. And we're super excited to have you all and see you next semester in our classes. All right, bye everybody.
Bye, thank you.